Hey guys, let's talk about MPVs today. So at the bottom of the food chain, we have the very basic 1.5 litre 7-seater MPVs. And in this country, it starts with the Perodua Alza, and then we have the Toyota Veloz, both of which are sharing the same powertrain, but because of differences, there are some price differences too. And of course, there is also the Mitsubishi Xpander, which is also in the same category, and all of them are priced between 70,000 to 109,000. Then in the middle of the range, there doesn't seem to be many MPVs. I remember there was a time when we had the Toyota Wish and also the Honda Stream, but they seem to have disappeared. And so in between 100 to 200,000, there's not much. Then a little bit further up, we have the 7-seater Kia Carnival, and there are a few variations, and they range between 200 to 260,000 ringgit, and they are in a class all by themselves. And if you want a mid-range or rather mid-priced MPV, that's what you'll be looking at. And then there is the more luxurious units, and this refers to the Alphard and the Vellfire. And these have been around for quite a while, very, very popular, many upgrades and model changes, but basically they are the same 7-seater luxurious MPVs. They look like huge vans, but that's the way to get the maximum space lah. And it seems like every businessman who will have many cars in his business, and in his garage, but there must be at least one Vellfire or one Alphard. And of course, at the top of it all, the creme de la creme, it will be the Lexus LM, which is also based on the Alphard, but it is super luxurious and it's only a 4-seater. Then with this influx of electric vehicles, because they are tax-free, we also have recently the introduction of the BYD M6, which is actually a small size, and it actually sits just above the Perodua and the Toyota Veloz and also the Xpander. At between 100 to 125,000 ringgit, you get a fully electric MPV. Small, 7-seater. So in the same electric vehicle wave comes another one, and this one is also in the super luxurious bracket, and it is actually made to compete with the Alphard and the Vellfire, and also the LM. And that is none other than the Denza D9, which is coming to Malaysia very, very soon. The Denza D9 was actually the top-selling MPV in China in 2023 and also through to the first half of 2024. Hitherto, they have always been left-hand drive vehicles, of course, but in the last couple of months, there was a rollout of the first right-hand drive versions of the D9, and they are coming here, amongst other places. So who is Denza? Denza is actually a sub-brand of BYD, and this brand is supposed to make luxurious MPVs. And the Denza D9 is actually designed to take on the likes of the Alphard and the Vellfire, plus of course the Zeekr 9, which is also another very popular MPV in China. The Denza D9 is a fully electric MPV, and as far as we know, there are actually two drive versions. One is the base model, which comes with a front motor, which has 313 PS and 360 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 100 is done in 9.5 seconds, and it has up to 620 kilometers of range, which is quite impressive, And then, of course, there is also an all-wheel drive variant, which has a smaller rear motor to give it extra boost, and this one boosts the power up to 374 PS and 470 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 100 is a bit faster at 6.9 seconds. And the range is only slightly shorter at 600 kilometers. That's also quite impressive. Looking at the Denza D9 from the outside, it does look kind of familiar, so you can very easily see where the inspiration comes from. As I said before, this Denza D9 is built specifically to fight the likes of the Toyota Alphard and the Velfire, and also the Lexus LM. So that means there must be a luxurious version of this, probably with the same type of isolation between the driver and the passengers in the back compartment. The interior of the Denza D9 is really luxurious. So the one that we saw has got a kind of whitish or beige together with black or light blue interior, and it really blends very well to make a very classy interior. The steering is kind of unique, flat bottom, but it's big enough to match the size of the vehicle. There is a large center display for infotainment and also a separate driver instrument display. For the middle row, there are 2 captain's seats, and they are really nice and comfortable. It also comes with a chair table which you can use for dining or for working. Now, each captain's seat has its own remote touchscreen control, and this touchscreen control make adjustments for your seats, for your music, and also for your sunroof. And also there's a mini fridge which is tucked in between the front seats, so the middle row can reach it easily. So access to the rear part of the Denza D9 is through 2 individual sliding doors, one on each side, and access to the third row is through the 2 captain seats. There's a walkway, or else you can adjust the seat to the front and you can slip in through the sides. The Denza D9 comes with a dual sunroof, one for the front and also a bigger one at the back for the second and third row. So guys, now that you've seen the Denza D9, tell us what you think. Okay, bearing in mind that this is a new approach to MPV, whereas all the MPVs up to now are ICE engines, and this one is electric. But also remembering that the range is between 600 to 620 kilometers, it's also a very respectable range. And from now on, we can also expect to see longer and longer range on EVs. And because of the duty-free status, they are coming in at a very competitive price. So it looks like this can take off here. After all, your MPVs are used not so often. And for families, you use the MPV to send your kids to school, or you go for a meeting, or you go for a wedding with your family, you know. And so usually the owners of these vehicles would have a whole fleet of cars in the garage, including a sedan or maybe a SUV, a sports car, but the MPV is always there. So having an electric MPV is not so bad because with a long range, you don't have to charge that often, and if you need to go long distance, 600 kilometers is a very respectable range.